years. I don't think it's going to happen now.
I don't think it's going to happen now. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I love it. I love it. So when we talk about just movers and shakers in our lives, in our worlds, whether we know them personally, whether we read about their stories in our history books. First of all, we never know if we truly have the real story, at least not anymore. That part. Uh, it's always interested on the indelible mark that a person leaves in our lives. Listen, this is Anne Marie, host of About This Life. About This Life, we bring together guests who show us how to let go of limiting beliefs, following a transformation and a mindset shift. So, Nathaniel A. Turner, Juris Doctor, JD.
Just
He
Nate.
just Nate, he says, but you have already gone deep on me. So there is, you can add just if you want, but how about that? I get to define you in that. That's what we
You
were
do.
talking
You
before we
do.
started
Yes.
recording. So Nate, for
Yes, ma'am.
you.
I'm good. How are you?
I am well, thank you. It is my pleasure to have you on the podcast. I mentioned already that you were a lawyer,
Hmm.
criminal, corporate, what type of lawyer?
Neither. I don't practice law at all.
You don't practice law now. Did you
Mm-mm.
get your JD?
I did. I finished my law degree and my master's simultaneously in 19 December of 1994. I have a master's in history and theology, and but I figured out after the first semester of law school that based upon the current way that the legal system worked, I realized I did not want to be a practicing attorney.
Oh my word.
But I'm
There's a
from Gary.
story
But I'm from
there.
Gary,
You're
and
from Gary.
I'm from Gary, and you don't quit stuff that you start. So I had to stay and finish it. A
You got
good
to
thing I
stay and
did.
finish it.
I had to stay and finish it. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you have some um, tips for us. You have something to share with us in this conversation in terms of what we go through in families, in cross generations, what we pass on,
Hmm.
and what we might want to take a second look at.
Hmm. Indeed.
Question I want to start off with you. Okay.
Yeah.
From the outside, JD and Masters at the same time, I heard you say, I'm a
Yes.
good listener too.
Yes, you are.
But you have me on my toes. I'm sitting up in my chair. I can't slouch down on this one. I'm a good listener too.
Uh,
Um, Overachiever. Let's start with that term.
you know what?
Where
That's
does that
interesting.
come from?
That's interesting. I would say everything that you see before you is a product of two very specific points in time. I
Mhm.
consider all things before Naeem. That's my son, so it would be in before Naeem, and then there'd be things a in after Naeem. The Probably the biggest influence in my life would be my father, for the better or for worse. So what you see before you is Tommy. A lot of it is my father. Hate it or love it, but the guy who raised me in a particular way that you see today. And then the gentleman who is my son, he also helped me to grow up and become somebody hopefully better than I was before I met him.
Why would we hate or love Tommy?
Well, my father is a complicated man, or he was. He's no longer with us, as are many
Hmm.
people. My father was born in 1942, was born without a father in his life. He would tell you that he did the best he could do without a father. I would tell him that's an excuse. You should do better. So you might,
Wow. Wow.
right,
Okay.
right, right. I would say my father was a phenomenal artist. He could fix anything. If you and I walked into a furniture store and we saw furniture we liked, my father would draw a sketch of it and go home and make it. But yet, my father couldn't get out of his own way to be the kind of productive person he could have been if he could have got down his own way. So yeah, you could love him. I mean, I love those things about him. He taught me to be an entrepreneur. My father, when I was 9, I wanted a 10-speed bike. I've told this story about 1,000 times, but I'll tell it to you. I wanted a 10-speed bike for my 10th birthday. My father told me on my 9th birthday to not get this dirt bike. My parents, like I told you, I'm from Gary and my family's poor, and my father and my mother put together some money to buy me this off-brand Huffy because it wasn't a Huffy. It was probably like Huffed instead of Huffy. So, so they got me Puffy. I probably don't want to say his name, but they got me this bike. And my father told me as a 9-year-old, he said, "Don't get this bike." And I said, "No, no, no. This everybody's running." He said, "You won't want this bike next year." Dad, I need this bike. He said, "Okay, I'm telling you, next year you're not going to want this bike." And sure enough, less than a year later, I'd grown some. The bike was smaller. All the friends in my neighborhood, because my parents had moved to this, at the time was predominantly white side of Gary. Some of my friends were more privileged. They had 10-speed bikes, and I couldn't keep up with them on my little Huffy bike.
You let her huffy.
And my dad said, "I'm not buying you a bike. I told you last year." And he says, "If you want the bike, here, follow me." And he walks me out to the garage. He opens up the garage door. He points to 3 things. First one he points to is a lawnmower. He said, "What's that?" I said, "A lawnmower." Second thing he pointed to was a rake. He said, "What's that?" I said, "A rake." Third thing he pointed to was a shovel. I said, "What's that?" He said, "What's that?" I said, "A shovel." He said, "If you want the bike, you buy it. If a man want to eat, a man got to work. I'll loan you the
Yes.
money for your first tank of gas." And so this was like in May. My birthday's in July. By the time my birthday came around, I bought a red Schwinn bicycle. It was over $100, about $150 in
Hmm.
1976. I bought a
Right.
bike. Yep. I bought a bike. My dad taught me that. Told me to make
So he
flyers, share with the neighborhood, etc. Yeah.
so
So
he taught you life lessons.
he taught me life lessons, many of which he didn't live up to himself, and thus would be the complicated part of it. I'm like, "Dude, you're a hypocrite. You're telling me what to do, but you're not doing any of it. You're telling me to respect women, not put my hands on them, but I see you putting your hands on my mother all the time." Like, so there's a huge hypocrisy going on. So yeah, I love him because he's my dad. He taught me some invaluable things, but at the
Hmm.
same time, there's parts of my father that I just didn't like at all.
You are absolutely correct because the old adage, nobody's perfect, goes to a different level because of the intensity of the dysfunction that can happen
You know.
when things are complicated. I so much want to get into what would make your father that way, but this interview is not about your dad. This interview is about you.
Right,
You
right.
said Naeem. Is
Bef-
it, does it have an H in it or no?
No, no, no.
Naeem.
Naeem. Yep.
Naeem
Hmm.
helped you to grow up.
Absolutely.
So how did you need to grow up then?
Well, I will say so. I finished law school in '94. Prior to deciding to be a father, because I really wasn't convinced I wanted to be a father. My wife convinced me that I wanted to be a father. So,
In the way that women do. Okay.
hey, she's like Don Corleone. Listen, bruh, I'm gonna cut out all this activity. You don't give me a baby. So no, she was approaching her 30th birthday and she started talking about her biological clock was ticking. And I was like, "Yo, your biological clock is digital. You can't hear it." And she's like, "I can't hear nothing you saying." So I did not want to be a father because of my relationship with my father and my father's relationship with his father. And I just figured like that there's something in the water. They messed it up. I'm sure that I'm going to mess it up as well. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to be a good husband long enough to be thinking about being somebody's father. But my wife, I don't know, it was foresight, but she took me to see The Lion King. And it was seeing
Mhm.
The Lion King that I saw a story of a cub and a lion that reminded me of what might be possible, or gave me insight of what might be possible for me as a father. And so that was Naeem. Everything that I saw that Mufasa do in the movie, that's what I wanted to do for Naeem.
Did you lift them up?
Absolutely. Waited 8 days to name him. He didn't have a name for 8 days. had a very diverse village before DEI became a bad thing. I had people from all walks of life, all parts of the community, all parts of the world were part of his village. We wrote letters to all of our family and friends, etc., who we thought would be a part of his village, and told them we weren't going to name him for 8 days, and that we wanted them to come by and spend time with him in the first 7 days to help us to name him, because it was our belief that if the folks helped to name him, they would feel responsible for his maturation. So yeah, no, we did all of that. Yep, yep,
All of the things. What does
all of those.
Naeem mean?
Naim is Arabic. It means benevolent. His middle name is
Yes.
Swahili, which is Kahari. He has a hyphenated last name. I tried to throw away Turner, but my mother reminded me of the significance of Turner. And then we looked up an African name. We found a Yoruba name, which means is called Bandale, which means born away from home. So his full name is He is a benevolent king, despite being born from slavery and away from home.
I love that statement. I love that statement. I think of my own sons, like Andwele Kwabena Akin, born a strong man.
Ah, look at you.
Yes, and Malik Bakari,
Mhm.
Malik Akua
Master.
Bakari. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely, master,
That's what I wanted to
prince
name
is a
him.
king. And then only years later did I find out Malik is really pronounced Malik, but
No.
at that time, at that time there was a TV show and Malik Yoba was on it, and
Yo,
I'm like, I'm going with Malik.
I dare not mess with him. The
Yes.
sisters love him.
Yes, I like my little Puerto Rican and the guy who played Eddie.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about? That
I do.
show with the
I
two
remember that.
cops.
A New York Undercover. Yeah,
New
New York
York
Undercover.
Undercover. That was
Yeah.
my show. That was my show. But when people overachieve on the surface level, it could resemble driven,
Mhm.
determination, the desire to be successful. I have a feeling that you look at it just a little differently,
Yeah.
that it is hiding some things. How do you look at overachievement?
Well, so I love words. So overachievement suggests that someone has gone beyond what they were supposed to go. And I don't believe I've even come close to what I'm capable of doing. So I don't think I've overachieved at all. I think I've underachieved. I feel like I'm running out of time and there's so much left for me to do that I'm not sure I'm going to get it done. And when my time is over, I'm going to look like a person who didn't do everything you're supposed to do. So I don't see it at all as overachieving. I
Mhm.
see it as people putting limits on you and putting ceilings on what you're capable of doing or what's possible for you. But rarely do we think of people who do stuff to change the world as overachievers. We don't think of Dr. King as an overachiever. We don't think of a Malcolm X as an overachiever, or Fannie Lou Hamer, or Phyllis Wheatley, or like I'm just naming our people. We don't think of them as overachievers. But when we are around people who are not satisfied with where they are in life, we say that they're an overachiever. I just don't. Yeah, I don't see it that way.
So is it a good thing or a bad thing to be an overachiever?
so, so I'm going to say that if I understand who created me, then there's nothing that can be called an overachiever. See, I see you wearing a cross on your neck, and I
Mhm.
don't believe that being an overachiever has anything to do with your faith. See, I don't think Christians are over. I don't think if you believe that the God who created you made you in the image of God, then what is it you could possibly do that'll be overachieving? All you'll
Nothing.
be doing is living up to your potential.
Hmm.
So no, I
Or
just
living in his grace.
well either way you want to describe it, right? But I
Hmm.
would say it says Jesus says, "I have come so you can do things far greater than me." So I would say you have the potential to do a lot more. Most of us though I would say we settle. So rather than overachiever, I would say too many people settle, and thus make some people look like they're doing more, but they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're just not settling.
That is if they are aligned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. But when you ask me why do am I overachieving, I was like, no, I
Right.
just don't. I just don't buy that. I have a child who people would say he's an overachiever, and if you talk to him, he would say, "Well, I haven't done anything yet." I mean, he speaks four languages. He's a PhD in electrical computer engineering. He got accepted to 27 universities. He's got seven PhD offers, fellowships directly from the school. Got about $10 million in scholarship. You could say all that stuff to him, and he would say, all that's past tense. Now, I got the rest of my life in front of me. Do I live based upon what I previously did, or do I do more?
How did he become all of those things, as wonderful as it sounds? Because that sounds like a young man with a drive and an ambition. But
Right.
how do you want to
Sure.
define your son?
Oh, he's better than me. That's the simplest thing I could say. He's better than me. That's one of the ways I tell people all the time. I say he's mini you. I say no, he's far better than me. Name's the future. Name's the future of what's possible. Name's an example of what it looks like if two people are completely committed to making sure that the child they have has a life that far exceeds theirs. That's it. He's a blueprint for what's possible for all children, especially
He,
kids who look like us.
yes, he is. But excuse the question for a
Hmm.
moment, because of
No, no.
course, Naeem is personal. Some kids make it and some kids don't. Some kids are born
Mhm.
into situations that you would think the possibility exists for them as well. And I'm talking about people who look like us.
Sure.
And then you will find that some kids, something pivots, something changes,
Hmm.
and they get off track, for lack of a better term.
Agree. Agree to disagree, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
not sure it's a
okay,
disagreement. I'm
okay.
not sure it's a disagreement. I'm not sure it's a disagreement. Here's what I would say.
Come on.
If you knew me 50 years ago, you would have said to me, man, I don't know what Nate is going to be. Like, I don't think it's not looking good for Nate. You would have said
Right.
that about me. In high school, my high school guidance counselor told me in the beginning of my junior year, the end of my sophomore year, as I was preparing my junior year schedule, that the best I could hope for in my life was to join
Mm,
the military.
mm,
He didn't mean an officer. He didn't mean a gentleman. He meant a grunt. He didn't even think I was good enough to work in the steel mill, and I'm from a steel making town. I'm from Gary, as I mentioned. That's what he told me. That was the best that I could
hmm.
hope for my life. So you say, well, what happens? You're right. There's a pivot. Five adults decided to love me for no reason. Friends of mine, their parents said to me at one after another, time here or there, Nate, you could do better than this. See, what I didn't know was that when I moved to that white side of town, I was tracked. So I had gone from gifted and talented
Hmm.
to suddenly into remedial
Yes.
level classes. You wouldn't have thought I would be talking to you today telling you I was a lawyer, but you're right. Something changed. There are some people in my life who decided to care for me for no reason. I think that when we talk about children, we forget children are fruit, and that the
Mm,
fruit is only a representative of the trees. So I don't
hmm.
really put the onus on children. I put the onus on the adults, on the trees, because it's the trees. In the case of my father and my mother who messed me up, not me. I didn't choose to be here. I didn't choose to be parented by the people who decided to parent me. I didn't choose to live where my parents decided to have me live. I didn't choose the school that they sent me to. I just had to learn to
Hmm.
deal with the situations that were before me. I think that we forget that. Like children are the gift. We ask for them to be here. And then we get
Yes.
them, we don't treat them like the honored guests that they're supposed to be. So yeah, some of us go off the beaten path, and some of us, like me, get lucky. I'm a statistical anomaly. I have 8 of the 10 adverse childhood experiences. My wife has seven
Wow.
of them. Collectively, we have 9 of the 10, and we produce nine. That's intentionality.
Teach our audience about adverse
Sure, I'm sorry.
experiences.
So adverse childhood experiences are there are 10 of them that the Centers for Disease Control in
Hmm.
1994, 95 did a study where they studied students in Oakland primarily in the Bay Area and were curious as to why kids were not performing. And what they found are there's 10 things that threaten the performance, academic performance, and if you have enough of them, it just threatens life in general. And that's living in a home where someone's been abused, living in a home where you're abused, living in a home where someone abuses drugs and alcohol, living in a home where someone's been incarcerated. You get the point. You see where I'm going. And there are
Yes.
10 of them. So
Yes.
I have 8 of those 10. My wife has 7. Collectively, we have 9. So yeah, they once you get beyond three, they say like, hey, it's gonna be very difficult for you to live a productive, overachieving life. You're gonna
Hmm.
underachieve most of your life, having grown up with those aces.
So you have this beautiful gift of a son.
Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wifey convinced you.
She convinced me. Yes. Wink, wink.
Or you didn't have any choice.
Oh no, I had a choice. I had a choice. I had a choice. I had a choice. I didn't like the option, so I went with the one that says, okay, all right.
She worked her mojo.
Right, she did. She did.
And then you have some decisions to make in terms
Absolutely.
of how you are going to raise your son.
Absolutely.
What are some of those decisions? You touched upon it earlier. You said you had to make different choices. You
Yeah.
said you had to do different than what your father and his father did.
Yeah.
Give us a real life example of some
Sure.
choices you had to make.
One of the things I had to realize was that you can't have everything. Most of my peers, as you can imagine, you finish law school or grad school, you're around
Mhm.
people who are doing similar things. My best friend's a physician. He and I made a pact in high school. He was going to be the doctor. He was a special ed student. He was going to be the doctor. I was going to be the lawyer. Don't know how that was going to happen, but we figured it out, and he's now the president of the American Medical Association.
Wow.
Right, but I can come back to that. But most of my friends were still single, or if they were married, they didn't have children yet, and they were living their best lives. And I
Mhm.
had to make a decision about what was most important to me. Like, I can't have everything. I can't have the great car and the great house and do all that kind of stuff. Not starting out, I have a child. So the most important thing to me was Naim's well-being. It wasn't about stuff. I drove old cars. I didn't buy a new car in his lifetime, and he asked me to get a new car. Daddy, would you stop driving that old car? What your clients gonna say? I said, well, my clients are gonna say they get a really great deal because they're not paying for cars. So
Mhm.
like so everything I did was just about doing what was best for him. When my wife wanted to get her master's degree and she wanted to go into the school, she's been a principal and a dean of the university. When those things mattered to her, I was like, fine, you do that. I'll pick them up every day at 3:30. I'll take them to school every day. Like so, I changed like what most of my peers are doing, what they thought was important, working 80-hour work weeks or whatever, 60-hour work weeks. I didn't care anything about that. I cared about my relationship with my son. So I gave up a whole lot of stuff that my
Mhm.
peers thought was important. Now, conversely, right now we're at the opposite end of the thing. I have this wonderful, healthy relationship with this child who we do stuff together. I've helped him build his own business. He and I've written children's books together. And I have other fathers now saying to me, hey man, my son don't really talk to me. Or my son don't have time
Mhm.
for me. I'm like, yeah, man, because in the beginning, what you thought was important wasn't really important. And what I thought was
Yeah.
important is this relationship. And I have a wonderful relationship. He and I are still doing stuff together. He is my best friend, and I am his best friend.
I love it. I love it. It reminds me of the song, what, The Cat's in the
Great.
Cradle.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah,
much of what you say brings back a memory. And that song is about the father never
never
ever
happens.
having time.
Right.
And then when the son is an adult, it's
Got it
the
back.
son that says,
Right, right, right.
no
Yeah,
pops.
right. I wanted no parts of that. I wanted
I
no
want
parts
no
of that.
parts of that.
Mm-mm.
In terms of working with him, you mentioned books.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. Children's books. What kind of things do you write?
So he's responsible for everything that I've ever written. So like I said, there's before Naeem and there's after Naeem. So
Mhm.
when I found out, you said what kind of things that I do that were intentional, I wrote him notes. So when Latanya says we're going to be parents, the very first thing we do, we write at Harvard and we get an application from Harvard, and we use the application from Harvard to create this template for his life, so we could backward design his life. I was convinced I was unemployed from law school, right?
Oh.
I was convinced that the reason I'm unemployed is that I went to wrong law school.
So hold off a minute. When
Yes,
you
yes,
said
yes.
you wrote Harvard,
Mm-hmm.
admissions office
I wrote
or
home, yeah, because in 1994, remember you had to do them little tearaway things and send it off, and they would send you an
yeah.
application back. We sent an
Okay.
application in for an unborn child. We wanted to get an application because we were convinced that somehow, if we
Hmm.
created a plan, we could structure it so that when our child got to be 18, he or she would meet the academic qualifications for Harvard. Why do we want to
Okay.
do that? Because I'm at Valparaiso and I'm in a whole lot of debt, and it's not a great law school, and nobody's knocking on my door to hire me. So it's like, you know what? If I'd have been in a different school, whether I want to practice law or not, somebody would have
Hmm.
hired me because I'm a Harvard lawyer. In fact, I would have come on
Right.
your show today and you'd have said Harvard trained attorney. So I was
Right.
like, okay, cool. So we write Harvard. We get this application and we realize that there are three things in this application that are hugely important. The first one is grades. Like we get that. Like that you
Hmm.
gotta have it for Harvard. But the second two things that are most important things, or the second and third things are most important things to us. The second thing said Harvard was looking for world citizens.
Hmm.
And we're like, wow, okay. So it means we should, 1994, this child should be able to speak at least one other language.
Yes.
And then the third thing Harvard said they were looking for were people who care for something greater than themselves. And I was like, oh, I got that. I'm working my master's in theology. Yo, I can, like that's about God.
Hmm.
Not really, but like so everything we did at that point in his life was about making sure he lived up to those three elements of those three pillars in his life that he we call him now intellectually ambitious, globally and culturally competent, and humanitarian driven. Those were the non-negotiables
Okay.
for his life. Yep.
So he has the three pillars.
Yes.
You started writing notes even
I
before
started
he
writing
was
notes
born,
before he's born about what I
and then
wanted to happen
fast
for him.
forward to the books.
I wrote him letters as a child. And when he moved to Brazil, his junior year of high school, he decided he didn't want to go to high school for a senior year, and he was able to leave because again we've been following this pathway. So he had already finished essentially all his high school coursework. He said, "Okay, cool." So he moved to Brazil, and I had written him letters, lots of letters, and I packed about 35 of them in a binder because he's going to be 7,000 miles away from me. And I figured, he's not going to talk to me. He's 16 now. He's grown. And so I put the letters in a binder. And one day he says to me that we should publish those letters. And I said, but they're not for, I wrote them to you. He said, I know,
Yeah.
Dad. But when you tell me I could do something, not only do I know I can do it, I know it's going to happen. And I think other families should have access to the stuff you've told me.
What's the name of the book?
Raising Superman.
Raising Superman.
Super,
Name
Supaman. I didn't use ER.
Super
Super.
SUPA.
Hey, Raising Superman. Yep.
Raising Superman.
I'll send you a copy. I'll send you a copy. Don't worry about it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Because Nate, my question is, what happened inside of your heart, inside of your mind, as you put your 16-year-old on a plane?
Oh well, what happened? I'm so the short story is Naim and I talk about dreaming all the time. And one of the
Hmm.
letters that I wrote him is about dreams. It's called Dreams Lift Us Up, the pursuit of happiness. And I said to him, like, the biggest problem that most people face is that we stop dreaming. And so,
Yes.
and so when that child, again, when I think about my relationship with my father and me saying to my dad, man, you're a hypocrite. Well, when you tell a child that they should dream and you don't want to be a hypocrite, when a child says to you, my dream is to play professional soccer and you got to get me out of the United States, then I got to get you out of the United States because I've always been advocating for dreaming and you've done everything. He's like, Dad, I've done everything I've been asked to do. I'm like, no, you're absolutely correct. So, how I feel about it, inconsequential. Because
Mm.
the other part of it was that families from other nations always send their kids to America. It is rare that Americans send their kids
Send
somewhere else.
to other countries.
Right. And
Oh my
Brazil produces
gosh.
900 professional soccer players every year. So
Right.
you're like, well, where else would I send you? If you want to be a great soccer player, it ain't happening here in America. Here in America is about wealth and privilege and color of your skin and all this other nonsensical stuff. But in Brazil, it's either can you play or not. If you can play,
Yeah.
you can stay. If you can't, they're gonna put you on the plane and send you back home. So
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, the conversation I was just having with someone prior to my speaking with you, I was bemoaning the fact that they take recess out of middle school. because on the middle school playground, it does not matter if you black, white, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't matter. Can you throw the ball? Can you catch the ball?
Absolutely.
Kids are just their authentic, natural, real selves, and they don't care what you look like, but can you do this?
Absolutely. They learn all that foolishness from from
From the
us.
adults, from the
Absolutely.
grown folk. You,
Absolutely.
they learn all those things from the grown folk, and my goodness, there's something real and natural about being young at heart and authentic in your spirit. What's something that you've had to pivot that you have brought to your clients? You have this template, you have a way of helping your clients navigate through, can we call it a healing
So
journey? What shall we call it? You tell me.
so
And hang on a minute if
so
you hang on a minute if you can hear my voice. So sometimes I have aircraft flying over my house and it slows down the speed. Okay, there we go.
cool.
So, in terms of dreaming big
Hmm.
and being able to fulfill that, you wanted to honor your child. And I know one of the things you were saying that all the other countries send their kids here to
Yeah, oh yeah,
America,
absolutely.
and America is the only one is reticent to send their children other places.
Yep. Now here's the interesting thing. Like we just watched the World Cup,
Yes.
and we saw America celebrate. They had, I think, at one time they had like 8 African American males on the field at one time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
8 of the 11. But most of those young men had to leave the country to go train and play somewhere else. So in
Mm.
2012, we were ahead of the curve. Like our friends were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yo, he can't be what he wants to be here. This country is not. They're not trying to have that. So we're gonna send him somewhere else where the color of his skin won't matter. He can go to Brazil. They're not gonna like him in Brazil, but it ain't gonna be because he's black. They're not gonna like him in Brazil because he's American,
Right.
right? Because they think he has some privilege. So yes, he
Right.
does, comparatively speaking, to some of his teammates who lived in Brazilian favelas. But they're not gonna dislike him because of his skin color. So that's gonna be unique. And so when we went there for his tryout, we saw him play with a level of joy we'd never
Mm.
seen him play with. And it was like my wife and I were like, no matter what we got to do, he's got to stay. He's got to be here. He looks excited about playing. He's got a chance maybe to make his dreams a reality, but it won't happen if we take him back to America. It's only possible if he stays right here. So it became
Okay.
easy. I guess a no-brainer. If you love someone and you want them to be successful, like then it's not about me. Like it's ceased being about me. It's about what the child wants to do so the child can live up to their potential.
I love the way that you keep your family unit. That the references to your wife, the talking about Naeem, and that you keep that front and center. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
And that is not said, sometimes we hear things and it's just like, well, isn't that a little condescending or arrogant? But no, that is said with sincerity because we want to be able to hear the positive stories that come out of our community.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'd love for you to share, Mr. TEDx speaker, because you did that too.
I did. Yes. Yes.
You mentioned one book,
Mm-hmm.
Raising Superman,
Superman. Superman.
SUPA. And
Man. Yeah.
what are some other books that you've written and that you've done, and what is the focus of the other books?
So I've published 6 of my own, and I've published 3 of his. But I've written, I don't know, about 4 additional that I haven't published. One of my I hope to have done by the end of this month. I think that's going to be the best book I've written
Mm.
ever. It's called Raise a Great Human. But I've written Stop the Bus. I've written a book called Journey Forward. I've written a book called It's a Jungle Out There. Naeem and I have written two versions of a book called The Amazing World of STEM. The first one is just The Amazing World of STEM, and then it's The Amazing World of STEM Homes for All. Naeem's written two books. We published them. One is called What Are We Going to Do Today? And the other is What Are We Going to Do Today in Spanish? But because I don't speak Spanish, I'm not even going to pretend like I can pronounce what it is. But yes. So I think that covers everything.
I lost
Yes.
count.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I
I know
lost
I've written
count.
six. I know I've written six. Two Amazing World of Stems. It's a Jungle Out There. Journey Forward. Stop the Bus. And Raise the Superman. Yep. So those are my six.
So those are your six, and your
Hmm.
son has written a couple as well.
Yes. Yes. And
How do
then
you
I've
want people, how do people get to a point that they dream big about their family? And some of them will say, but you don't know my family. They crazy.
all of our families are. Mine's no exception.
But you don't
Mine's
know
no.
my family. You don't know this one and that one and the pettiness and the drama and the trauma.
Mine is no exception. Well, like I said,
And
I'm a product of eight aces, and my wife's a product of seven, and so
gotcha.
like that's a lot, right?
Yeah. But give us an idea, maybe just one thing
Hmm.
in terms of what you can intentionally do to turn around the dynamics in your family because you are about breaking generational patterns.
Sure. I would say this. I do not care about DNA. So that might be the biggest thing for me. Family
Mm.
to me has nothing to do with
Say it
our
again
genetic
for the
code.
people in the back. You do not care.
I do not care about DNA. I absolutely, unequivocally do not care about DNA. I don't. It's nice to say these are my cousins, but I'm more concerned about functionality. My best friend, I have two really close friends, Scott Sloan and Willie Underwood III, MD. I've known them since I was a sixth grader. They are as close to me as anybody, and they're
Mhm.
not related to me. I have cousins that I could care less, and they might hear it. I could care less if we spend 5 minutes together. But those two brothers, I give my life for them. So they're not related to me, but they've been functional. Their families are part of the families that love me for no reason. They're the families
Mhm.
that fed me when I didn't have anything. They were the families that comforted me when I didn't want to go home and be around my father and my family's craziness. So yeah, I just don't care about DNA like that. I care about functionality. My father and I, we're DNA. But my father and I couldn't be in a room, maybe 10 good minutes together. But there are other men who were like fathers to me. So like I guess that's the best explanation I can give is I
Right.
just don't care about functionality. I learned that again in The Lion King because you know what I saw? I saw Simba and I saw Mufasa and I saw Scar.
Yes. Yes.
It's all good. No, but
So,
you were just asking me how I do with the DNA, and I said I don't. And I was saying when I reference the Lion King a lot because it's played such a major role in my life and the way I see things. But like I said, there's Mufasa, there's Simba, and there's Scar. They're all lions, and they don't get along. I mean, so
mhm.
much so that Scar wants to kill his own brother. So
Yes.
so I'm like, well, that's DNA. And yet on the other end, Rafiki and Zazu,
Mhm.
a bird,
Timba.
right. Timon and Pumbaa, right there,
Yeah,
they're all
yeah.
different species. And these species have decided that we're gonna rock together until the wheels roll off. And so I'm like, I feel like that same way with people. I'm more interested in functionality. Can we work together until the wheels run off? And if we can't, then that's fine. If you're related to me, we can do it. That's great. If you're unrelated to me and we can do it, that's great. But I'm just not gonna be hung up on DNA. It's just I just don't know what the point of that is.
Okay, so we're taking a look at functionality.
Mhm.
In what ways do you help people? Because I know some of the things that you do. So describe to us, how do
Mhm.
you help people? How do you work with people?
Well, ooh, the last 30 years now, this is the 30th year of that. I've had a financial services company. So I mentioned I decided not to practice law,
Right.
but I did decide to open up my own financial services business. So the last 30 years, I help families primarily prepare for retirement, to not survive retirement, but to sort of thrive during the retirement years. I've helped families get their kids to college. Now, clearly, it's not my money. I've just shown them like the best ways to save and reduce expenses and so forth. But about the last 10 to 12 years, I've been showing families how to do what we did for Naeem because it was what Naeem asked me to do. And I mentioned when he left for Brazil, he told me do for other people what I'd done for him, and I was like, I'm not quite sure what that is. And he made me sure of what it was. And so for the last dozen years or so, I've been helping other families do exactly what Latanya and I have been able to help Naeem to do, which is give their children the opportunity to be great, regardless of wealth or privilege or Adobe Photoshop or any other stuff people use to
Mm,
cheat to get ahead. We've shown families how you can win, certainly at the educational perspective, without
right.
having to be privileged.
Give your families the opportunity, give your children the opportunities to be great.
To be great. Yeah.
And closing out the conversation, fill in the blanks for me. I'm going to
Okay.
give you a sentence, fill
All
in the
right.
blanks.
Yep.
I used to believe blank. Now I believe.
Used to believe I had all the time in the world. Now I believe I'm running out of time.
Okay, we're going to do it one more time. I used to believe blank. Now I believe.
I don't know what I used to believe and now I believe. I used to believe I couldn't, and now I
Hmm.
believe I have to.
Okay. And I'm going to push you. We're going to do it the
Yes.
third and final time. The sentence remains the
Yes.
same.
Yes.
I used to believe blank, but now I believe.
I used to believe other people were better than me, and now I believe that nobody is better than me, and I'm not better than anyone.
Yes and amen. Yes and amen. So, Nathaniel A. Turner,
Hmm.
Nate Turner, after that historical figure.
That's right.
Um, to our audience members, is something that you've heard today resonates with you. If there's something that touches your heart and you definitely want to get in touch with Nate, Nate, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm gonna give you my
Okay.
my contact information, so you can reach me personally. But I mean, I have
Okay.
two websites that are easiest to do. When if
Mm-hmm.
there's a parent who's interested in helping their children do far greater than they've done and perhaps more than they've imagined, our site is called the League of Extraordinary Parents, and the web address is lxtrap.com. So that's the League of Extraordinary Parents. If someone just wanted to hear me pontificate about a lot of nothing, you can find me at nathanielaturner.com. That's nathanielaturner.com.
Hey, Nate Turner, it has been wonderful having you on the show.
Been my
Thank you
pleasure.
for being my guest. And to anyone out there that's listening, I just want to ask you to subscribe. I especially want you to subscribe because look, we're trying to get some advertisers, some sponsors to carry the show forward, have a lot of vision and plans for where the show is going to take us. And in so doing, we want to keep the show on the air and be able to offer some more resources to everyone. So please subscribe, share this video, share this episode with family, friends, everybody, with the world. Let's make it go viral. This is Anne Marie, host of About This Life, changing our lives one day at a time. Yes and amen. Take care, everybody.